I was doing work, and then by the time I got done, it was like too late for me to get there and then turn back around. Really? Oh.
We heard them all. That's just the rest of us. We just pick them up and use them too.
That's right, because it's fun to do.
Just know it hurts my heart.
I doubt it. I think you laughed at them.
Actually, I bet you've told it through yourself.
When they give them their lawyer license, they find out it's hard. Getting close.
Non-stop. Maybe time for me to come by. I mean, oh really? It's gonna happen on Tuesday.
Is that type of sheet?
Sounds like it might be a bit of an advantage to stay out of.
How does the tree thing ever turn out?
Oh.
We're timing you now.
How are you?
Hurry up. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the July 12th meeting of the PPRTA Board of Directors. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and as it relates to the agenda, I have a couple of things I would like to recommend to the board. Item 9B, which is the City of Colorado Springs Capital Project Cost Revision, that was miswritten. That should be for information only. That's not an approval item. I just want to make that change. Also, under item 9A, which is related to a ballot measure, since our executive session is going to have some discussion related to that, I'd like to move 10A to after the executive session 11, because we will be having some discussion there. I think it would just be more appropriate to wait to vote on that until after we've had this opportunity to meet with Jennifer. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Well, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak under public comment? If you'd come forward, please, and identify yourself, we would appreciate it.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Tom Peterson. I'm the Director of the Colorado Asphalt Pavement Association. Got my business cards. We represent the asphalt industry of Colorado, and there are 3 producers in the county, 4 asphalt plants. Currently, there's a combined capacity of about 3.5 million tons. We're currently at a demand of 2 million, so we're a resource. We work with city staff and the county on specs and on the pavement design. And so we just wanted to identify myself and our industry as a resource, and that we're working hard to stretch the dollar that is there. We're looking forward to all the projects coming out, Pikes Peak Reconstruct and others. So just wanted to put a card to a resource and a partner organization that looks forward to continuing the success of the PPRTA program. So
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming forward.
Right.
All right. Anybody else like to speak? Okay, then I'll close that. We are very honored today to have Peggy Littleton, El Paso County Commissioner, with us, and we have a resolution we'd like to recommend to you for your approval, and let me read this to you. This is a resolution by the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority Board of Directors acknowledging appreciation to the El Paso County Director, Peggy Littleton. Whereas El Paso County is a member government of the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority, and whereas Peggy Littleton served as the El Paso County Commissioner from 2011 through 2017, when she served as a PPRTA Board Director her entire term as a county commissioner, including serving as PPRTA Vice Chair in 2015. And whereas El Paso County Director Peggy Littleton has served the citizens of El Paso County and the Pikes Peak region with distinction. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority Board of Directors wishes to acknowledge their deepest gratitude to El Paso County Director Peggy Littleton for her commitment to regional transportation planning and projects, for her wise counsel, and for her dedication to the advancement of the transportation projects of the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority. Resolved, approved, and adopted by the Board of Directors of Pikes Peak RTA this 12th day of July 2017, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, you guys can fight over it.
We can fight over it, yeah.
That's all right. I don't need to.
We can always take a second movement to approve.
Okay.
A third one, I mean.
Well, let's do, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Okay, Peggy, could you come forward? I'll meet you right over here, but
You were so kind.
I've got the resolution here, and I want to give you our usual hard hat as a appreciation, and you need to wear it the entire meeting, I believe.
Absolutely. I served for 5.5 years waiting for this.
I know. Thank you so much for your great service.
So, well, I want to thank you guys. It's so kind of you. It's been such a pleasure to be on the PPRTA board as a director for all those years, simply because, we had the opportunity back in 2012 to put the ballot language forward for adoption for the Board of County Commissioners to put on the ballot for the second 10 years, the second decade of PPRTA. And what a success story that has been, not only in the Pikes Peak region, but I think in the state of Colorado and nationally as well. People have heard about it at national National Association of Counties, and have adopted similar type of programs in their jurisdictions. What a great promises made, promises kept, and certainly I wish I could go back a decade before then and thank the originators of putting PPRTA on the very first decade here in El Paso County. And it continues to tell that success story. You know, you guys are going to have a great discussion today on whether to refer a measure to the ballot for the Board of County Commissioners' consideration for the citizens of El Paso County to potentially look at having an opportunity of using some of the funds which have gone through the roof thanks to the economic viability within our community and the continued sustainment of how we continue to grow here in El Paso County. So thank you for your good work. Thank you for always standing guard. I know there were times probably that our director probably didn't appreciate when he would come over to have me sign checks, and I would ask questions on why is this, why is that, why are we paying for this, and certainly talk about budget overruns and having things look a little different on how we presented every single time that we're going to have another budget item on a particular item, why we were doing that, how we were doing it, and then also just the opportunity to have the annual report to where we actually identified and put projects together on a map so that people could go back and identify those very easily and simply and see what was happening in their region that could tell that story. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the honor. If you don't mind, I'd love to get a picture with all of you. So,
Absolutely.
and I'm sorry that I stepped down, but I had 3 brand new colleagues, and I thought that they should have an opportunity to come over here and get their feet wet a little bit. So appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Let's all get our picture taken up here. Can we?
We can just stand back behind there. Stand back behind there. Is that okay?
We want to be.
All behind me.
Yeah.
You're gonna take your sandwich
Put the sandwich in the picture. Good job, Mark.
Here's Mark eating. So, all right. Thanks, you guys, so much.
Yolanda, you want to come up for the picture, Yolanda?
Yeah, Londa, come on up.
And bring Puma.
Oh,
You gotta class up the photo.
That's right.
No, Puma says I'm staying.
Puma's like, no
Puma
thanks.
knows how to do a meeting. He's seen through all of them.
That's what I do on the board.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, sure, Peggy. Congratulations.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Grab it for you.
It's all gone.
Thank you, my colleagues. Appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Carry on.
Okay, thanks, Peggy. And let's keep moving. In your packet was the minutes to the June 14th regular meeting. Are there any changes or additions?
The only thing I did see was our esteemed chair was called the vice chair last month in the attendees list.
Oh,
So-
okay. All right. Do you want to anybody want to make a motion to approve with that amendment?
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Let's go to the Citizens Advisory Committee monthly report. Jim?
Good afternoon. Jim Godfrey, Chair of the CAC. At our board meeting on the 5th of July, or our committee meeting on the 5th of July, of interest to you would be a line item transfer for the city for some design of a bridge up on North Mark Shuffle. For the new members, several years ago, as PPRTA 1 began to wind down, we collected some excess. I won't say word excess. I don't like that word. We collected some unallocated money and put it in a pool. And so it was about $5 million roughly in that pool, 4.8, I think. And so the city was coming forward to request a couple $100,000 out of that for a design contract. Part of the rules set forth by the board of that pool was that anyone requesting funds from that had to have an agreement of the other folks. So the city and the county were okay with that, and so the city came forward. The CAC did have a fair amount of discussion on that particular project, and the primary focus of that discussion was putting a bridge across Sand Creek on North Mark Shuffle somewhere that's not developed yet, and spending money to do that when we've got known issues on South Mark Shuffle having to do with flooding and other water-related issues. Also, as part of that was that we'd like to be able to see an overall plan for Mark Shuffle so that we know how this bridge fits into the overall piece of that. And ultimately, the discussion was having a design of that bridge may help facilitate that overall plan, or would certainly be part of that overall plan. So it was approved. Recommend approval for you on a vote of 8-6 with the CAC discussion. Second thing was a list of contracts by the city. It came forward with about 8 contracts. We didn't have any issue with any of their requested contract issues, and they'll discuss those in detail when the city comes up. There was under Policy Board 26 where there's a significant change in the cost of a project that we had this discussion last year sometime. The city did bring forward an informational item on Pikes Peak Avenue reconstruction costs. They provided a breakdown of those costs and a comparison to the original estimated cost of that project. So this was our first opportunity under Policy 28 to be informed about a drastic decision, and we were pleased with the level of detail the city provided under that. So you'll see that today as well. And then we had a long discussion of an item having to do with the I-25 GAP project funding. Just a few days before our meeting, there was the article in the paper. A lot of the CAC members were kind of caught off guard by the plan with that. And so we had a long discussion. No one was against the project. No one's against the idea of what we're trying to do. But the devil was in the details, and we didn't have any answers to questions. And so it was a lot of concern and consternation. And so Commissioner Waller called me the next morning, and we talked at length a little bit about that. And we've kind of agreed or working on trying to get together to start a dialogue between him and that plan and the CAC so that we're informed of how that process is going forward, and so we can openly discuss what a lot of us think could be issues, including some of the wording on the ballot, how that may handcuff us or affect the overall AB list and the impact down the road. And a majority of that, a lot of that was about the messaging. We got one time to get it right to the public, and so that was our primary concern. So the CAC did ask me to come forward. The original CAC, we were going to write actually a memo from the CAC to the board after Commissioner Waller's call to me, discussed it with Rick, and we decided to forego the memo, just bring it into you verbally in this thing because we were beginning to work and put together. So I appreciate your call, Mark, and thank you. And so that was kind of it from the CAC meeting. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Chairman Godfrey, I just wanted to, when I called you, I apologized for any disrespect for not getting a hold of the CAC, and I truly feel bad about that. And I wanted to extend that apology to the rest of the CAC members as well. I certainly have been working hard on this project, and it's something I'm passionate about and something that I believe in tremendously. And in my zeal to get moving forward, I neglected to reach out to the members of the CAC, and I can promise you that moving forward that won't happen again. So I truly appreciate you taking my call and having that great dialogue and and accepting my apology as well. So thank you very much for that.
And I'll refer to the rest of the CAC at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, thank
Any
you.
other comments or questions? Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is financial reports. Let's go to the first item, which is the monthly financial reports, and good news, Bev is coming up.
All right, good afternoon. Yesterday we received for the month of May $8,665,000 as compared to our monthly budget of $7,798,000. That puts us ahead for the month of May $867,000 or 11%. And year to date we're $3,624,000 ahead of budget. And this is the first amendment. So today will increase this budget if the board approves the second amendment to $100 million. But right now, we're $3,624,000 ahead year-to-date on the First Amendment, or 10.3%. On the second page, we're ahead year-to-date compared to actual through May, $3,451,000, or 9.8%. The next 3 pages put the revenue into the revenue and expense summary, and then show the expenses year-to-date for each of the line items for capital and totals for maintenance to the member governments. Page 6 and 7 are new, and they're going to be quarterly. They were provided due to a request from Commissioner Vanderwerf, and it shows the major capital projects for the city and county, what is encumbered, and the available funds. So I hope that this is a good report for everyone, and that if you have any recommendations on it, please let me know. I don't know, does anybody have any questions?
Are there any questions of Bev? Stan, does this meet what you were requesting?
I haven't had a chance to review it in detail, but I appreciate your making the attempt, and I'll take a look at that. And
Okay.
if I have any concerns, I'll certainly be letting you know. But I do want to put it on the record that I appreciate your accommodating that and looking into my request.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
thank you. And the city and county staff provided these numbers, and so they've really done the work, so.
Well, then my thanks to them as well.
Any other comments or questions? Anybody in the audience like to speak to this item? Seeing none? Then let's go to the next item, which is item 7B, which is a second amendment to the budget. We'll be asking for approval of this amendment, but first of all, we need to have a public hearing. Let me open the public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak regarding this amendment to the budget that's being proposed? Seeing none, then I will close the public hearing. Bev, you want to speak to this?
The Citizens Advisory Committee recommends that the board approve the budget as presented, the second amendment, and also approve the resolutions to adopt and appropriate the funds.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion to approve the amended budget?
So moved. Second.
Second? Okay, any discussion? Anybody in the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Now, we need to approve the appropriation resolution. Okay, is there a motion to approve the appropriation resolution?
So moved.
Okay. Oh, you were right there for the second.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the appropriation. Is there anybody like to speak to this? Anyone in the audience like to speak to this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to item 8, capital maintenance and public transportation contracts. Let's start with City of Colorado Springs line item transfers. And who will be presenting that? There you are. You were behind the post when I was looking.
Hiding in the back. Good afternoon, Aaron Egbert, City of Colorado Springs, Public Works, City Engineering. Mike Chavez is on a well-deserved vacation this week, so I'm covering for him. What we're asking for is we're asking to move $200,000 from the RTA 1 pool into the Mark Shuffle North for the design and structure selection, that kind of stuff for the Mark Shuffle Bridge over Sand Creek. It is the thought in some of the conversations we've had, and Kathleen is here to answer any technical questions about it, but if we can design and get the bridge in, some of the adjacent developers will start to connect all the roads, and that'll kind of facilitate that northeast part of town.
Is there any discussion? Is there a motion? Yes.
Question. Could you just clarify moving from one place to the next? Where are we transferring from what to what?
I believe, and I'll correct me if I make a mistake here, but we moved all the money as previously from RTA 1 into a pool. It was about $5 million. And then we're asking to move $200,000 from that pool into the specific Mark Shuffle North project.
Okay. So, forgive me one sec. Is this basically what we're talking about at PPACG? almost like a wait list for, when you take funds from, is that
Mayor,
what
no.
you're talking about? Okay.
No.
All right.
The brief history of this is that the PPRTA 1A list included a project, a joint project, to improve Mark Shuffle from the southern El Paso County boundary with Fountain north all the way to Black Forest. So if you picture that, that's a long road. To date, about $49 million has been spent, and it's gotten as far north as just north of North Carefree, but stopped at that point. From that point on, we have a road that is 2 lanes in most places. Developer built 4-lane in some, and it does not go from Woodman over to Black Forest. So that's the Forest Meadows neighborhood, which is one of our fastest growing neighborhoods in the city. I've been discussing with developers and have been able to come up with an agreement that if PPRTA could put the bridge in place, that they will get the road built this first year to Cowpoke. So that gives that Forest Meadows neighborhood a second way out other than using Black Forest. And the Black Forest road between Volmer and Woodman has become terribly congested. So this gives people a way out. It also gives emergency vehicles a second way in. And to be truthful, bridges, developers are real good at building roads. They're terrible at bridges because it requires a group effort. And if there's ever a business type that don't play well together, it would be developers. So you have to sort of force them into the room to get them to play well, and this is what we're doing here. All in all, this money was when we all sort of wrapped up the A list from PPRTA 1, and everyone's finished up projects. We have about $5 million. It may go up a little bit as people turn in the last of the money, but there's about $5 million. I can't do a significant widening project on Mark Shuffle for any length with $5 million. I could probably go from driveway to driveway somewhere, but not even get you a mile of roadway. So what I'm trying to do is spread that money into smaller sections where I can encourage development to fill in with that. And what we've got with Mark Shuffle, this will fill in to Cowpoke and hopefully then on to Volmer with development money. I've put in a developer request, and they've agreed to widen Mark Shuffle from north of Dublin to Woodman, where it's currently 2 lanes. That'll make it a 5-lane cross section. And that only leaves south of Dublin to North Carefree, where we're in a 2-lane section. The city and the county are currently working together to fix the Texas water crossing that occurs just north of North Carefree. I think a combination of the Texas water crossing money from the county, some city traffic funds, and I have a developer there who needs to fund some turn lanes, I may be able to get widening of Mark Shuffle all the way to Barnes. And that leaves me just Barnes to Dublin that I still have to scratch out funds for.
Okay.
No problem.
Good, thank you. Mark?
First of all, I just want to say, as a guy who makes a left from Volmer onto Black Forest Road every morning, I wholeheartedly support this. But I do have a question. Mm-hmm. When are we going to see a light?
This summer was the first time that signal actually warranted signalization so that I could, according to federal regulations, put in a signal, but it's now warranted. The signal is under design, and I'm planning on completing construction before the snow flies this year, so it will be a 2017 project. So you can look for that. We'll get in, hopefully, bridge and roadway in 2018 to Cowpoke. By 2019, research will be built over to Black Forest with a signal at Black Forest and research. And then we will have an upcoming PPRTA project that is funded in PPRTA 2, a list to improve Black Forest going north. So there is help coming, but for right now, it's just ugly.
It's very ugly, and I keep looking off to the left there as I'm sitting in traffic, unable to turn each morning, and I see the apartment complex that's going to add, something like 250 new units that are only going to contribute to that congestion here in a month or two. So
I will tell you, you're not alone to make your comments, because I had an email today or yesterday that Kathleen responded to, identifying almost
I
word
type
for
this
word what
often.
you said. Almost word for word.
It wasn't me incognito. I promise.
It's okay. That is typical where you have an area, especially that area started to develop and then it completely stopped. We had some developer bankruptcy to deal with, that type of thing. And now it is booming again, and it's simply going to take the jurisdictions a while to catch up with what's going on there.
Is there a motion to approve?
If I have,
I'm
I'm
making
sorry.
this one.
I'm sorry.
you can
Stan.
make that, but I actually have a question before.
Go ahead. Go ahead, and then I'll come back to Mark.
Commissioner Waller makes the move for that. But anyway, I don't have any objection to the project itself, but I do have just a question, and it's an understanding question more than anything. With regard to the line item transfer, the funds transfer, can you just talk to me a little bit, from a strategic point of view, line item from where to where?
Certainly.
Because you're moving this money around in order to succeed in doing these kinds of things, and I just want to understand, what does that mean at that level?
No problem. When PPRTA 1 was wrapping up and we were starting PPRTA 2, there was the process of going, all of the projects on PPRTA 1 did not finish exactly in 2015. We still have PPRTA 1 projects that are under construction. So we looked at how much money we thought was going to be left, and was there enough money that we should go to the B list of PPRTA 1. And the board decided not to go to the B list, that there were still A-list projects that did not get completely funded, such as Mark Shuffle. So any money that was in excess from PPRTA 1, for example, if the city finished up a project and they had, $60,000 left over, it got thrown in this pool of PPRTA 1 money. And it's approximately $5 million. It may grow a little bit as all the projects get wrapped up, we hope. That is the money we're going to transfer $200,000 out. But that $5 million was directed by the board to be spent on North Mark Shuffle when all was said and done.
Thank you. I appreciate that explanation. Now
No
I have the
problem.
connection to previous conversations, and I wasn't really making the connection yet.
That was a
But
good
you have fixed
question.
that, so appreciate
Good
it.
question. Mark?
Oh, I wholeheartedly and exuberantly move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll-
You got to be quicker, Stan.
I know you got to be quick on the draw around here.
Okay. Any other discussion? Anybody? Jim, did you want? Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Let's go forward with the next city, Colorado Springs contract.
Aaron Egbert, City of Colorado Springs. I'll kind of run through these real quick. We've got 3 on-call concrete contracts. The fourth one is a revision to the NV5 program management contract for the city, where we're adding a full-time inspector to help with our increased bridge maintenance projects. Transit has a match for a barrier removal grant that they have. Pikes Peak Avenue Reconstruct, we're bidding that project, so we're signing up AECom to do the construction management and inspection for that. Enchanted Bridge, that is 2 bridges. There's Enchanted, which is an RTA A-list project, and Fascination, which is a block away. That's an RTA B-list project. But because of the efficiencies to do these 2, we're using emergency bridge fund to fund Fascination, and then the capital A-list dollars to fund Enchanted. And we've separated everything on a 60-40 split, so we're just going to be paying out 60-40 by those accounts.
Okay.
And then we also have a pipelining project on South Tejonen.
Okay. Yolanda, I wanted to read one of these to you. Remember, he spoke of the access barriers. This is related to the city installing ADA accessible ramps and other necessary facilities to provide access to the fixed route bus system. It's about a $235,000 approval, of which the PPRTA would provide $47,000, $188,000 would come from a grant. So just wanted you to know that that's in there. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Stan?
I'll second this time.
Okay. Any discussion from the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Thank you. Aaron did a great job. All right, let's, the next couple items are for information only. Let's go to 9A, which is City of Colorado Springs Transit Services Monthly Report. And we're going to be starting to call you Good News Craig as well.
Yeah, it has been good news of
Bev,
late.
and we
Yeah.
have Good News Craig.
We'll ride that wave as long as we can. Craig Blewett, Transit Services Manager with the City of Colorado Springs. Our report is in your packet. Just a couple things to comment on. Our ridership for local routes, again, up this May of this year compared to last year by a healthy 8%, which is really good. ADA service up about 3.9% compared to a year ago. Again, one more weekday in the month of May this year compared to last year, and that helps because we have a lot of ADA trips are during the weekdays, as I mentioned last month. Van pool program, again, compared to a year ago, we're down in terms of ridership. But if you look at the numbers there and what that chart says, it's, this is the highest van pool ridership we've had yet this year. So things are on an upward trend there. A couple projects to mention. One is the downtown transit center station, our relocation project. And as we've noted, we've completed our recommendations, and we are scheduled to, the committee is scheduled to give its recommendation to the Mayor of Colorado Springs, Mayor Suthers, next week. So we look forward to that, and we'll likely be coming to City Council after that. The other item to just comment on, there was just as, I guess, an FYI, there was $38,000 in money budgeted for human service providers, and those are the nonprofits like Silver Key and Amblicab and so forth, from 2016 that was unspent. So that $38,000 has been carried over to this year and is allocated as part of that HSP budget and is actually already in our contracts with those providers for this year. We just wanted to give you that note. So our original 2017 budget for human service providers is $38,000 more than originally budgeted.
Any questions for Craig? Yes, Mayor.
So I spoke with Mr. Vituli the other day, and he said that it does look like we're going to get a bus shelter on Old Man's Trail real soon. Any ETA on that?
I don't have that. I do know we've gone through the process with the Federal Transit Administration in terms of historic preservation review, and we should be good to go. But I don't have what we're currently working on, and well, actually, Christoph is in the audience. Christoph Zerker, our project manager on that. Christoph, do you have an update?
Good afternoon. Christoph Zerker with Mountain Metro Transit. Regarding the bus stop at Old Man's Trail, it is part of our 2016 service change work project. That is currently in the beginning stages of procurement. We should be posting that project shortly. I'm not sure exactly how soon that is, but it should be in a very short time here. And that project includes the Old Man Trail improvements, which would then allow for that shelter to get installed.
Great. So back when we first made those changes and had the Route 3 on Old Man's Trail, we talked about moving the bus shelter that is currently located at Manitou Avenue in El Paso, because the Route 3 doesn't come in that far anymore. And it's a shuttle stop, but it just, obviously isn't getting quite as much as people waiting for the Route 3. So my council was asking if we could just move that, and we did discuss that on site with Mr. Vituli and Public Services and all that. So I just wanted to put a plug in for, we'd love to be able to just reuse that, trying to be all green and whatnot. So so just put a plug in for that we'd be happy to move that if we can.
Yeah, our shelters move throughout our system quite a bit. So
Perfect.
In order to fill that shelter spot, we would take that into consideration. Sure.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other comments for Craig? Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate your efforts in running last year's programs, and I guess you had that $38,000 in excess, which you've rolled now into this year's budget, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, it was unspent money. Yes.
It was unspent money, right? So it just kind of now comes to a procedure question that I'm looking for an understanding about what PPRTA does with that, because if there was, we had planned a budget for this year, and there was a budget line put in for those projects, and now you've added the $38,000 into that. Is that is there an expectation will exceed the budget and need the 38,000, or is it just excess money and you just kind of have it in a placeholder, or is it something that could be used for other purposes? Now, knowing that you saved, worked a program to save the money, which is wonderful because it's taxpayers' money. I don't know if there may be another place where it's of greater priority, but I'm just asking that question about
Sure.
what do we do procedurally when we run into this?
This funding is part of the 10% of funding that's dedicated for transit from PPRTA. So this is the money that is dedicated for transit.
Okay.
And we have a budget every year with our budget for our transit activities. As a practice, we allocate 4.5% of our transit budget for human service providers. So that's really an internal practice on our part. But that's part of that 4% from last year that's unspent, and we just carried it over to this year.
So it'll be used for human service providers.
Yes.
So it's dedicated to a particular line in essence, and therefore it stays there.
We have some latitude with regard to transit, but I might add that, transit under the agreement with PPRTA are City of Colorado Springs transit approved activities. So really it's the City Council that really determines how the transit funding is allocated for different activities. But we do include that as part of our PPRTA report that we report to you.
Okay.
You bet.
Any other questions for Craig? Anybody in the audience? Okay, Craig, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I might point out to both Christoph Zerker and also Andrea Davenport were here today for our contracting item. They haven't been to one of these meetings before, so I wanted to introduce them.
Oh, I'm sure they're just having a wonderful time.
We all are, yes, thanks.
Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go City of Colorado Springs Capital Project Cost Revision. Who's going to be presenting that to us? This is for information only.
Hi, I'm Ryan Phipps, City of Colorado Springs Public Works City Engineering, and I am also filling in for Mike Chavez, who is out this week. I'm not exactly sure what Mike presented to the CAC, but we put this memo together, which outlines how and why the original budget for the Pikes Peak Avenue reconstruction started off at 8.6, and now we're at 19.2, substantial increase. Most of the increase I've got lined out here is not most of the increase, but a big piece is the difference between 5 years. We've seen about 8% increase in transportation costs over the past 5 years. That's out of CDOT's data, and so that moves what we would anticipate an $8.6 million project costing 5 years ago up to 12.2. The other element that is there's two other major elements that are substantial increases would be the drainage component. So originally when this project was visioned, it was a concrete curb and gutter and pavement replacement type of project. Once we dug into the design a little bit, the drainage is actually contributing to the deterioration of the roadway. There's massively undersized system there, and so in order to install a system that will properly convey the flows along Pikes Peak, that's the $3.2 million price tag. And then also CSU taking the opportunity while we do our capital projects to replace their infrastructure, which is a pretty common practice. They've got infrastructure on there that's almost 100 years old, and so they're wanting to get in there and replace water lines, sewer lines, and some non-potable lines, and that's that $2.3 million price tag associated with that. That piece from CSU does get reimbursed. They're prepared to pay for that out of their 2018 budget, but that's how it grew up to $19 million. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I do. So what's the difference between the 8.5% overrun and the cost indexed increase? What's the overrun for?
The way that I just had that was that if we were to take out the drainage component, which wasn't originally part of the project, and the CSU component, which again wasn't part of the project, and if we just look at the elements of design and construction of the replaced roadway and curb and gutter, we would be at about $1 million over the $12 million. So the original project budget is fairly close to what it should be if it was cost indexed from 5 years ago. But that 8.5 is not related to the annual. That would have been the overrun.
Right, so your overrun is over 10% of the, well over 10% of the original cost. Is that normal? 10%?
10%?
Yeah, you said a million. The original was supposed to be 8. The overrun's over $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you're over 10%. Is that a normal cost overrun? That's not cost. That's not indexed increase. That's just a.
Yeah, that would have been an overage over the 12.2 million, and that's less than 10%, and that's
But no,
if
it's not. It's over 10% of the original.
of the original,
estimate,
yeah.
yes. So is that normal?
I'd say if we can get an engineer's estimate within about 10%, we'd be pretty happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
One of the things I wanted to mention with when 2C came into existence, the mayor and council insisted that we do some coordination. So this is information. It's a national average of cities our size. About 20 times a year, a road is paved, and within 6 months, it's dug up. And so now we coordinate. What a unique idea. And last year, knock on wood, the city had 0 dig-ups. So it's, as he's mentioned, what the work that he's talking about along Pikes Peak, which is a complete reconstruction, to replace 100-year-old water mains is really important, because you know they're going to break. Soon as you finish your work, all the drama that's happened on top of that's going to put a lot of stress on them.
Right. And it's a worthy project, especially right next to the heart of our, biggest park, basically in that area.
That's right.
One of the bigger parks.
Well, I know you and Yolanda approve of it since it's in your district. So I'm sure.
It's out of my district.
Any other discussion regarding this? Thank you for the update on it. It's very important.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to item 10A has been moved to a little bit later. Let's go to item 10B, which is a field staff review report.
Rick Sonnenberg, it's just an information item. I'll take any questions you might have.
Okay. Any questions? I don't see any, Rick.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The next item is an executive session. Would someone please read the proper language in order for us to go into executive session?
Well, and I'm going to make it even harder because I don't have any executive session advice for sales and use tax. So what I would ask for would be a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Section 246402(4)B for the purpose of conferencing with an attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions regarding ballot measures and/or a potential revised IGA for the I-25 project.
Okay. Let's. We need to have a 2/3 majority to approve this. So let's start over here, David.
I approve. Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Yolanda. Yeah. Okay. Let's take about a 5-minute break as we clear the room and go into executive session.
I apologize for being late, ladies and gentlemen. PPRTA and Colorado Springs Utilities.
Springs is going to put something on the
Can we
ballot.
have a timeout real quick? Sorry. Ready? Okay. So since I'll be giving legal advice in executive session, no further recording of the executive session needs to be made. Thank you.
Just sometimes. When Jim lets me.
Sorry, you guys.
Back to work.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. So they're able to solve several problems in the universe. We can worry about this petty ass. I'm going to tell you rush. I said, yeah, we'll let you come out there. I've got a green card that let me get out of the state.
You can get back in?
Well, no, that's
hasn't been decided.
I need to fill out your travel visa, otherwise you can't cross the line.
I know when I get too far east, when I get to Big Fort, they'll have 5 seconds. That's too far south.
Sir, back, that's easy.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna get to step in for you? I didn't know you were married.
I'm already late for my next meeting.
Okay, well, hopefully this will go quickly. We can get Mr. Waller back in here. We can get started.
See, the thing is, my mornings are, knock on wood, okay for the most part. But then once I hit the road, it's boom, you're on.
All right, does anybody know where Mark's at? Okay. Okay, let's, I'm going to call us back to order. And Mr. Waller is not here, but I'm. Oh, there he comes. Okay. Let me get us back into regular session. The next item on the agenda is item 10A, which is a notice to the El Paso County Clerk and Recorder of intent to file a ballot measure for the November 7th, 2017 coordinated election. And so that's all that we're asking for approval on. After this, I'm going to give some direction to our attorney if this is approved. So is there a motion to give that notification to the clerk and recorder?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Jennifer, I would like for you to please take into consideration the discussion we've had with you and prepare some language for us, both with an IGA and with a potential ballot language. I'd like this to be given to us prior to the next meeting. I would like to have it early enough that we can actually have a discussion with the CAC, and I just will tell you if we are not comfortable with it at the next meeting to recommend these approval, I may ask us to have a special called meeting, but I do not want us approving this without the input of the CAC. So that's where I'm at. So is that okay with everybody? All right. Okay. Jennifer, is there anything, next item is item 12. Is there anything related to the ongoing litigation?
No action for you, just to update you that the Walmart parties did request an extension for filing of their opening brief. So they're given a 1-month extension, which will push back all the other dates by a month. So we would be now looking at the January-February time frame for Peter's best guess on a decision.
Okay. All right. Any questions related to that? Okay. Is there any member announcements? And obviously, Puma has been exhausted by our meeting, so he knows how to do a meeting, doesn't he? So with that, we're adjourned.
Thank you. Good job.
Oh.
Sorry.